The drone Ukraine hid for 3 years. And now Russia has nowhere to run explosion. A massive oil tank explodes in a fireball of orange flame, 20 meters high, 40 meters, 50. The Tuapse refinery on the Black Sea coast becomes an inferno in seconds. A Russian soldier hits the ground, gets up, runs, screams into his radio. Black smoke pouring behind him. Another explosion, another tank, another inferno. Orange flames light up the night for 2 kilometers around. The Black Sea reflects the fire as if the water itself were burning. A Russian air defense battery fires missiles into the empty sky. The missiles climb. They search. They find nothing. They fall into the sea. Because the attackers are already on top of the target. 12 gray drones. Small. Silent. Each one the size of a compact car. Each one carrying 40 kilos of explosives. Each one coming in from a different direction. The third drone dives. Another tank ignites. The fourth drone dives. A ship loading terminal explodes. The fifth drone dives. The main pumping system blows apart. The entire refinery is burning. And that is when the Russian nightmare really begins, because nobody can stop them. The Russian fighter jets arrive late. The air defense batteries miss. Command falls into panic. And there are still 7 drones in the air. 7 drones, hunting for targets, in absolute silence, in Russian airspace. And nobody knew these drones existed until today. 7 hours before this, the Ukrainian night was silent. 2,240 hours. A dirt road. Central Ukraine. A white pickup truck pulls onto the shoulder, headlights off. 2 men step out, dressed in civilian clothes, no insignia, no rank. Just 2 men working in silence, in the dark, on the edge of some unnamed village. They open the bed of the truck. They mount a simple launch rail, a metal frame, a cable, a gray drone the size of a small car. 15 minutes. That is the prep time. At another point, 400 kilometers away, another pickup repeats the same gesture. At yet another point, 1 more. 12 trucks scattered across Ukraine. 12 identical drones, each one with different coordinates. Each one pointing at one single refinery. Tuapse. The same refinery that was hit twice in the last 2 weeks. No panic. No rush. Just the silent routine of an operation Ukraine has been rehearsing for 3 years in absolute secrecy. Then the drone operator whispers the launch word. Before we move on to the next hour, if you are watching this and you have not subscribed yet, stop right now and hit subscribe. Hit the bell. Because war analysis at this level, real operation, real weapon, real facts, disappears fast on YouTube. This kind of content the platform hides, demotes, makes vanish from the feed. You may never find another channel showing modern warfare like this. Subscribe right now. Hit the bell and get back to the chaos. Because what comes next is heavy. 2,255. Dirt road. The drone operator whispers the launch word. The drone lifts off vertical, climbs 3 meters, 6 meters, 12 meters, and vanishes into the night sky. In 11 other points across Ukraine, 11 more drones lift off at the same moment, in silence. No escort, no open communication. Each one flying alone, each one carrying coordinates memorized before takeoff. Cruise speed, 200 kilometers per hour. Altitude, 1,500 meters. Heading, east. Target depth, 1,400 kilometers inside Russia. The first Russian defensive wall sits 200 kilometers from the border. It is a network of long-range radar towers. Continuous coverage, in theory designed to detect anything that flies. 2,315 hours. The drones cross that wall. A Russian radar operator stares at his screen. He sees the contacts. Small, slow. 12 points of light moving inland. To someone trained to spot cruise missiles, which fly at almost 1,000 kilometers per hour. These contacts look like noise, big birds, interference. Too late, he realizes they are neither one. The geometry is wrong. Russian command center spins up. Operators at their stations. But the classification stalls. 12 small contacts do not look like missiles. They look like noise. Su-35 fighter jets are scrambled at a nearby airbase. They are ordered to launch, but it takes minutes to spool up the engines, and more minutes to climb, and more minutes to find them. Russian command demands visual confirmation. Ukraine, on the other side, is receiving real-time imagery from an American reconnaissance drone flying in international airspace. The United States does not interfere. It just watches and records. The first drones are already in the final approach phase. Distance to the refinery, 80 kilometers, 60, 40. A Russian long-range air defense battery fires its first interceptor missile. It rises in a vertical streak, bright, luminous, slicing across the sky toward the target. And it misses. The Sechin drone was designed to operate in environments with heavy electronic jamming. The Russian system, in theory capable of bringing down any airborne threat, was not ready for this. The interceptor flies for 30 seconds, searches, finds nothing, falls into the Black Sea. Another battery fires, another missile, another miss. Speed, heading, altitude. Russian systems have all three readings, but they cannot get a lock. The drones fly below the ideal interception altitude. They drift sideways when they should be coming in straight. They keep flying after they should already have been blinded by the signal jamming. Every parameter the Russian doctrine says to use against a last-decade cruise missile does not work against this aircraft. In the Russian command center, the duty officer requests rules of engagement. The reply is delayed. The 12 seconds it takes. Those seconds matter. The short-range air defense systems, repositioned around the refinery after the two previous strikes, finally come online. They fire in short, automatic bursts with close-in radar tracking. They take down 2 drones. 2 points of light vanish from the screen. But 10 more are still coming, from different angles, each one from a different direction. The Russian air defense, designed for threats coming from one direction, was never built to decide 10 directions at the same time. Distance, 5 kilometers. 3, 1. Oil tank number 3 explodes in a fireball. The shockwave shatters windows a kilometer away. The pillar of fire rises 20, 30, 40 meters into the air and holds. The night turns orange daylight for 2 kilometers around. Russian command falls into panic. They demand more missiles, more reservists, more fighters. They demand everything. The Su-35 jets finally enter Tuapse airspace. Too late. Over the Russian radio, a cold voice issues the order that should have been issued an hour earlier. Weapons free. But there is nothing left to shoot down. The remaining 10 drones find their targets, each one with precise coordinates, each one striking a different part of the complex. Drone number 4 dives into a loading terminal. Number 5 into a gasoline tank ready for export. Number 6 into the main pumping system. Each impact separated by seconds. Each explosion stacking onto the last. The Tuapse refinery becomes a ring of fire visible from satellite. 7 tanks burning. 3 export terminals offline for weeks. The local fire crews arrive in 15 minutes, late as well. The fire, by that point, is already too big for the duty crew to put out. They are going to need reinforcements from other cities. Ukrainian operation, 0 losses. They did not fight a defense. They fought a 70-year-old system, and the system failed. And this is not fiction. On April 14, 2026, inside a quiet room in the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry in Kiev, diplomats from dozens of countries saw, for the first time, a gray aircraft, unpainted, unmarked. Its name is Sichen, Ukrainian for January. It flies 1,400 kilometers. It carries 40 kilos of explosives, and it had been used against Russia in absolute silence since 2023. Russia's oil refining capacity dropped 17%. Russian oil exports collapsed 43% in a single week. On April 21st, Russia was forced to cut production by up to 400,000 barrels per day, the steepest monthly drop since the pandemic. And the former Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu finally admitted in public a sentence no Russian leader had said before. No region of Russia is immune to Ukrainian strikes. St. Petersburg, the second largest city in the country, was declared a front line by the governor of the Leningrad region. More than 1,000 kilometers from Ukraine, now considered a front line by Russia's own regional government. What you just watched is what could happen on the next night. The refinery burns. Russian fighter jets sweep an empty sky. There are no drones left to shoot down. The Ukrainian operators, 1,500 kilometers away, close their laptops. They dismount the launch rails from the trucks. They drive home along rural roads, headlights off, in the absolute silence of the Ukrainian night. The Russian regional governor will have to hold a press conference in the morning. He will have to explain how a strategic refinery fell for the third time in a single week. He will have to admit, in some chosen word, what Shoigu already admitted before. No region of Russia is immune. In Moscow, air defense is being redistributed. In St. Petersburg, reservists are being recruited to form units with anti-aircraft weapons inside industrial factories. In Tuapse, the firefighters will need 3 days to put the fire out. And somewhere in Ukraine, on another dirt road, on another night, 2 men in civilian clothes will open the bed of another white pickup truck. They will mount another launch rail in 15 minutes. No panic, no swagger. Just the disciplined routine of a war that has switched hands. Russia spent decades building an air defense designed to hold off peer powers: the United States, NATO, China. It was not prepared for a cheap weapon, built in secret, launched from a pickup truck by 2 men in civilian clothes. The Sichen broke a 70-year-old assumption. The threat of long-range military force, which historically traveled outward from Moscow, now travels in the opposite direction, from a smaller country, a younger independent state, in the form of burning refineries and drones named after a winter month. And the detail that bothers Moscow the most: Ukraine has warned that the Sichen is not the most powerful weapon in its arsenal. There is a missile called the Flamingo. Range, 3,000 kilometers. Warhead, 25 times larger than the Sichen's. And nobody has yet seen how it performs in combat. January was only the beginning. Now I want to hear from you. Ukraine hid the Sichen for 3 years before revealing it. The question is, why reveal it now? Pressure on Europe? A message for Moscow? Or a warning to the United States that Ukraine no longer needs them? Drop your take in the comments. The debate starts down there, and I read every single one. And if you made it this far and still have not subscribed, hit subscribe right now and ring the bell, because the next video is already in production, and it is heavy. We are going to show what happens if the Flamingo, the Ukrainian missile with a 3,000-kilometer range, hits what nobody is imagining. You will not want to miss it. Subscribe, hit the bell, and see you next week.